For thousands of years, we've been absolutely fascinated by mercury. You probably know it as quicksilver, that incredible silvery liquid metal. It really is a true anomaly of nature. But beneath that beautiful shimmering surface lies a powerful and incredibly deceptive poison. It just doesn't seem to add up, right? I mean, you're looking at a liquid metal that you can literally pour from hand to hand. So how on earth can it be so deadly? Well, that is the exact mystery we're going to unravel today, the very strange science behind mercury's lethal power. Okay, so first up, we've got to understand the basics of this element. Its whole personality is a contradiction. And that's the key to both why it's been so useful to us and why it's so incredibly dangerous. All right, first things first, let's just bust the biggest myth about mercury right out of the gate. Get this. If you were to swallow a small amount of the pure liquid metal, the stuff you see here, it would, believe it or not, probably just pass right through your system. Your body just doesn't really absorb it in this form. And this is where the real danger kicks in. See, it's not the shiny liquid that gets you, it's what you can't see. Mercury is always, constantly releasing this invisible, odorless vapor into the air. And when you breathe that vapor in or even absorb it through your skin, it goes straight into your bloodstream. And that is mercury's main line of attack. So once it's inside you, mercury basically becomes a saboteur at the cellular level. Picture your cells like these little bustling factories, right? Well, mercury gets in there and just starts systematically breaking the machinery. It latches onto these critical parts called sulfhydryl groups, shutting down vital enzymes, and just brings everything to a grinding halt. But wait, it gets even more complicated. Because, not all mercury is created equal. The specific chemical form it's in can totally change how poisonous it is. We're talking night and day. Okay, so it all boils down to one simple word: solubility. Think of it like trying to dissolve salt in water. Basically, the easier a mercury compound dissolves, the easier your body soaks it up, and yeah, the more poisonous it becomes. As you can see, these mercuric compounds are super soluble and extremely dangerous, while the mercurous ones are a lot less so. And here are some of the absolute worst offenders. They're all bad news for sure, but I want you to pay close attention to that one at the top: mercuric chloride, also known as corrosive sublimate. That stuff? Wow, that's historically been the cause of some of the absolute worst cases of acute poisoning. So, what does an acute attack actually look like? Well, let me tell you, when someone ingests a fatal dose, it's a fast and brutal assault on the body. It all kicks off with this one single sensation: a really sharp, acrid, metallic taste in the mouth. It's pretty much the body's first and only warning that a very powerful poison has just been introduced. And from that moment on, the clock is ticking, and it is terrifyingly fast. I mean, within minutes, there's a burning pain that just rips from your mouth all the way down to your stomach. Then comes the violent vomiting. A few hours later, the body just starts to give out. The victim collapses, their skin gets cold and clammy, their pulse gets faint. And even if they somehow survive that initial phase, the next 2 or 3 days bring on this final assault, as the poison attacks the gums and, most critically, causes total kidney failure. So you might be wondering, how much does it take to cause all this chaos? Just 1 to 2 grams of that corrosive sublimate. To put that in perspective, we're talking less than half a teaspoon. The potency is just absolutely staggering. But here's the thing: mercury isn't just a fast and furious killer. It can also be this slow, creeping menace, building up in your system over months, even years, without you even realizing it. And historically, this kind of chronic poisoning was a terrifying occupational hazard. People who worked in industries that used mercury all the time, like making thermometers, barometers, mirrors, or famously felt for hats, they were just constantly breathing in low levels of this vapor, day in and day out. This long-term exposure led to some really distinct neurological symptoms. And the most famous one? You've probably heard of it: the Hatter's Shake. It's this coarse, uncontrollable tremor that would start in the hands and eventually just spread through the whole body. Yep, this is literally where the phrase "mad as a hatter" comes from. And it wasn't just physical. Along with those tremors came this devastating psychological breakdown called erethism. Imagine this. People would become intensely shy and irritable, their memories would start to fade, they couldn't sleep. It was a complete and total unraveling of their personality, all caused by the slow poisoning of the brain. So with a poison this formidable, what can you even do? How does modern medicine fight back? And where does all this fit into the world of forensics? Okay, treating this kind of poisoning is an absolute race against the clock. First, you have to neutralize the poison, washing out the stomach with a special reducing agent to make the mercury less harmful. Next, you bind it up, using things like egg whites or activated charcoal to basically soak up whatever's left. Then, doctors hit it with specific antidotes that literally grab onto the mercury in the bloodstream so it can be removed. And finally, it's all about support, treating for shock and using dialysis to do the job of the failing kidneys. So what about criminal cases? You'd think this would be a go-to poison for villains, right? Well, you might be surprised to hear that murder or suicide by mercury is actually really, really rare. The vast majority of cases are either accidental, from things like old antiseptic creams, or they're industrial, from that long-term workplace exposure we were just talking about. For centuries, we were just dazzled by mercury's beauty, completely missing its deadly secret. It took a long, long time to finally connect the dots. And that really makes you think, doesn't it? It leaves us with this one big question. What are the seemingly harmless things we're surrounded by today that might be hiding their own dangerous secrets?